What if I told you the world's most powerful language was once just a dialect spoken on a small obscure island? Discover the surprising story of how English conquered the globe and how its power can completely transform your future. Subscribe and turn on notifications now so you never miss the secrets to mastering this life-changing skill. Today, I have something truly special for you. It is a story, but it is also a journey. We all know that English is a very important language in the world. Perhaps you are learning it right now. If you want a good job, you know that English can help you. If you dream of traveling the world, seeing new places and meeting new people, you know that English is the key. Maybe you want to start a business. English can help you connect with customers from many different countries. Or maybe you just want to relax. You want to watch movies, listen to music, or look at social media. You will find that English is everywhere. But have you ever stopped to ask a simple question? Why? Why is English the global language? What makes it so special? How did just one language become so important all over the world, while thousands of other languages are only spoken in small areas? And the most important question of all is, how can learning English change your life? We will find the truth behind why it became the most powerful language in the world. Now, are you ready? Let's begin with the real reasons behind English's journey to the top. Let's travel back in time together. Imagine we are going on 500 years. At this time, English was not a global language. Not at all. In fact, it was a very local language. It was spoken by only a few small groups of people living in England. It was a simple language for simple lives. Back then, the powerful languages were very different. Languages like Latin, Greek, Chinese, and Arabic were the languages of great empires, of big business, and of important religions. English, by comparison, was seen as a simple and unimportant language. It was spoken by people on a small island, and not many people outside of that island knew about it. So how did this happen? How did English go from being a small local language to the #1 language in the world? The answer is a story about history, about power, and about how our world became more and more connected. Now imagine this with me. The year is 1600. England is starting to become stronger. It is a growing power. But it is not the biggest country in the world. Other empires like Spain and France are much bigger and much stronger. But England had a special advantage. It had a secret weapon, its navy. The British people built one of the strongest navies in all of history. Their ships were fast and strong. With these ships, they started to travel the world. They went to new lands, and they began conquering and colonizing different parts of the globe. Soon, big and important places like India, large parts of Africa, Australia, and parts of America were all under British control. And when the British came to a new place, they brought their language with them. This is the key part of the story. Even after these countries became independent after they gained their freedom, the English language often stayed. It remained the language used in the government, in big business, and in schools and universities. That is why even today, countries like India, Nigeria, and South Africa still use English as an official language. It is part of their history. So now we understand how the British Empire helped to spread English across the oceans and all over the world. But let's move to the next chapter of this incredible story. Because even though the British Empire was very powerful and helped English reach many countries, that alone was not enough to make it the world's most dominant language. Something else happened. There was another major event that changed everything. This event was even bigger than the British Empire. And that event was the rise of the United States of America. Let's picture the world in the year 1945. The world had just finished a terrible, painful time. It had just gone through one of the worst conflicts in human history, World War II. Many of the world's most powerful countries like Britain, Germany, and France were left in ruins. Their economies were broken. Their beautiful cities were destroyed. And they had lost millions and millions of people in the war. It was a very sad time. But there was one country that came out of the war stronger than ever before. That country was the United States. Unlike the countries in Europe, America did not have massive destruction on its own land. Instead, its economy had grown even more powerful during the war years. After the war, it had the strongest industries, the most advanced technology, and a very stable government. And with great power comes great influence. After the war, America started to lead the world in almost every important area. In politics, in economics, in science, in entertainment, and in technology. And as America's power grew, so did the English language. This was the second great wave of English dominance. Let's look at this more closely. Let's break it down step by step. First, the American dollar became the world's money. This is one of the biggest reasons English became so important. After World War II, the American dollar became the most powerful currency in the world. Almost every major country in the world started using the dollar for international trade, for banking, and for big business deals. Think about this for a moment. When countries need to buy important things like oil, they usually pay for it in dollars. When businesses sell their products to other countries, they often use dollars. When people want to invest their money in global markets, they depend on the American financial system. And because money and business always go together, the language of business naturally became English. Even today, if you want to work for a big international company, if you want to negotiate deals with people from other countries, or if you want to start a global business, you must know English. Second, America created modern entertainment and pop culture. This was another major reason that made English so powerful. During the 20th century, America became the world's leader in entertainment. Before this time, people around the world mostly enjoyed local movies, local music, and books in their own languages. But after the war, something changed. Hollywood movies and American music started to spread all over the world. The biggest and most exciting films were made in Hollywood. The most famous singers and music artists were from America. The most popular TV shows were made in English. As a result, more and more people started watching movies in English. They started listening to English songs and dreaming of speaking English, just like their favorite actors and stars. Even today, the most successful music albums, the most watched Netflix shows, and the biggest Hollywood blockbuster movies are all in English. And because people love entertainment, they naturally learn English sometimes without even trying. It becomes a part of their life. Third, the Internet was built in English. Imagine a world without the Internet. It's almost impossible, right? Today, we use it for everything. We use it for learning, for working, for talking with our friends, for shopping, and for entertainment. But here is the interesting thing. When the Internet was first created, almost everything on it was in English. The very first websites were written in English. The biggest technology companies, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, were all American companies. The special programming languages that make the Internet and our computers work were also written using English words. Because of this, English became the language of the online world. Even today, most of the websites on the Internet are in English. Many software programs you use on your computer require some knowledge of English. If you want to succeed in this digital age, you have to understand English. This means that whether you are studying, doing business, or just using social media, English is all around you. Fourth, English became the language of science and innovation. This is one of the most important reasons English became so powerful. It became the language of science, of medicine, and of new technology. Think about it. The most important scientific research papers are published in English. The best universities in the world, like Harvard and Oxford, teach their classes in English. The most advanced medical discoveries are shared with the world in English. The most successful technology companies all operate in English. If you are a scientist, a doctor, or an engineer, and you want to share your important work with the world, you must do it in English. This is why students and professionals from countries like China, India, Brazil, and Russia all study English so hard. They know that if they want to be a part of global progress, they must speak the global language. And Fifth America's military and political influence was huge. English also became powerful because of America's strength in the world. After World War II, America became the world's most powerful country, not just in business and technology, but also in military strength and in politics. The United Nations, which is the most important global organization for peace and cooperation, uses English as one of its main languages. The world's most powerful military alliance, NATO, operates in English. When world leaders get together for important international meetings, they often speak to each other in English. In short, if you want to understand or participate in global politics, you need to understand English. Now let's take a step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. It's interesting that English is not the most spoken language in the world by native speakers. Mandarin Chinese has more native speakers. Spanish is spoken across many different countries. But English is the most useful and powerful language in human history. Why? Because of all the reasons we talked about: money, business, entertainment, the internet, science, and global politics. If you know English, you can get better job opportunities almost anywhere in the world. You can travel easily and communicate with people from many different cultures. You can learn new skills much faster because most of the educational content in the world is in English. You can start an international business and reach more customers. And you can enjoy global entertainment without having to wait for translations. This is why English is not just a language. It is a global skill. We have explored how English became the most powerful language in the world. We saw how the British Empire helped spread it to different continents and how America's rise after the war made it essential in business, science, entertainment, and technology. But now we have a big question to answer. Will English be the global language forever? Or could another language, maybe Chinese or Spanish or even artificial intelligence translations, replace it one day? Now we will go deep into this topic. We will break it down step by step in a way that is super easy to understand. By the end, you will have a clear idea of what the future of the English language might look like. So let's get started. Why is English still getting stronger? Even though many people ask if English will lose its power, the truth is that English is not just staying strong, it is actually growing even stronger. Let's look at some facts that prove this. First, more people are learning English now than ever before in history. Did you know that right now more than 1.5 billion people around the world are learning English? That is almost 20% of the entire world's population. That is an amazing number. Even in countries where English is not an official language like China, Russia, Brazil, and Germany, English is a required subject in schools. Why is this? It's because parents, students, and professionals all understand one important thing. If you know English, you have better opportunities in life. You can get better jobs. You can study at the world's best universities. You can communicate with almost anyone from any country. Even in small villages in Africa or remote towns in Asia, you will find English learning centers opening every day. This means that English is not just a language anymore. It has become a life skill. And the demand for this skill is still growing every single year. Second, the digital world runs on English. We live in a world that is completely connected by the internet, by technology, and by social media. And guess what? The internet was built in English. More than half of all the websites on the entire internet are in English. Most computer programming languages are based on English words. If you want to work in an exciting field like technology, artificial intelligence, coding, or data science, you must know English. Even on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, English is the primary language. For example, when a new trend starts on social media, it usually starts in English. Most of the viral videos, the funny memes, and the global discussions happen in English. Even when people from non-English speaking countries post something, they often use English hashtags so that more people can see it. This means that English is not just a language, it is a digital necessity. And in our world today, if something is strong in the digital space, it is strong in the real world too. This is why millions of people in countries like India, China, and Brazil spend years of their lives improving their English just to get better jobs. Because in the world of business, knowing English means you can have a higher salary, international clients, and more career growth. So if a language helps people make more money and have a better life, will they stop learning it? Of course not. And that is another powerful reason why English is still getting stronger. Now let's discuss the second big question. Could another language take over from English as the global language? The answer is, it's possible, but it would be very, very difficult. Let's look at some of the most powerful languages in the world and see if they could ever replace English. Let's start with Chinese, or Mandarin. It is the most spoken language in the world, with more than 1.3 billion native speakers. And China is one of the fastest growing economies with a lot of influence in global trade, in making things, and in technology. So could Mandarin replace English? Here is the problem. Chinese is a very difficult language to learn for most people. It has thousands of different characters instead of a simple alphabet like English. The grammar and the pronunciation are also very complex. Even if you learn how to write in Chinese, learning to speak it fluently is another huge challenge. Also, China itself encourages its own people to learn English. Many Chinese students and professionals prefer to learn English for international communication instead of trying to spread Mandarin around the world. For these reasons, Mandarin is a very powerful language, but it is unlikely to replace English. What about Spanish? It's the second most spoken language in the world, with more than 500 million people speaking it. It is the official language of over 20 countries. So could Spanish become the next global language? Here is the challenge for Spanish. It is mostly spoken in Latin America and in Spain. Outside of these areas, it is not widely used in business or science. Many Spanish-speaking countries themselves teach English in their schools because they know it is important for international business and education. The digital and technology world is still dominated by English. So while Spanish is a beautiful and growing language, it is not strong enough to replace English on a global scale. Finally, what about artificial intelligence, or AI, and automatic translation? Some people argue that in the future, powerful AI translation will make learning languages unnecessary. For example, apps like Google Translate are getting better all the time. New AI tools can now provide real-time voice translation. In the future, people might just wear small AI-powered earbuds that can instantly translate any language for them. It sounds like science fiction, but it's becoming real. So could AI remove the need for English? Not exactly. Here is why. AI translation is still not perfect. For deep, important conversations, business leaders, scientists, and professionals will still prefer to communicate directly in one common language. English is already so deeply connected to global culture, business, and education. This means that even if AI, e-translation gets much better, English will likely remain the main global language that people choose to learn and use. So what does all of this mean for the future? Here is what we can expect. English will continue to grow. More people will learn it, more universities will teach in it, and more businesses will require it. English itself might change and evolve. In the future, we might see simpler versions of English that make it easier for global learners to use. Other languages will, of course, remain important. Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic will still be powerful and beautiful languages, but they will probably not replace English globally. And AI will help us, but it will not replace English. Technology will make communication easier, but English will still be essential for getting good jobs, doing business, and connecting with the world. So if you are learning English right now, you are making one of the best investments you can make in your future. Because no matter how much the world changes, English will remain the language of opportunity, of success, and of global connection. We have already discussed why English is the global language and why it is not going away anytime soon. But now we are going to talk about something even bigger. We are going to talk about how English can change your life. Because the truth is, English is not just a language. English is a tool. English is power. English is freedom. And if you truly understand this, if you truly take this idea seriously, it can completely transform your future. So let's start from the very beginning. Before we talk about how English can change your life, let's imagine something together. What if you didn't know English? Let's imagine that you only speak your native language. At first, this might not seem like a big problem. You can talk to your family and friends. But then reality starts to hit. You want to watch a new movie, but you find out the best ones are in English. You want to read a powerful book that everyone is talking about, but it's only in English. You go online to learn a new skill, but most of the best video tutorials are in English. You apply for a good job, but they say, "Sorry, English is required." You decide to travel to another country, but you find that no one understands your language. You want to do business with people from other places, but your clients all speak English. Slowly, you start to realize something very important. Without English, your world feels smaller. Your opportunities become limited. Your knowledge becomes restricted. And worst of all, you can start to feel stuck. Because no matter how talented you are, no matter how skilled or hard-working you are, if you don't speak the global language, the world might not listen to you. That is the hard reality. But here is the good news. You can change this reality. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about next. Now let's flip the story. Let's imagine a different version of your life. Let's imagine a life where you speak English fluently and with confidence. What happens then? First, you get much better job opportunities. If you know English, your career can completely change. You can apply for high-paying jobs in big multinational companies. You can work from home for companies in the USA, the UK, or Canada. You can get promoted more easily because you can communicate with international clients and managers. If you are a business owner, you can sell your products to customers all over the world. And do you know what is truly amazing? Many people work for years in their own country and make very little money. But a person who learns English well can sometimes double or even triple their income just because they now have access to better jobs. This is why in many countries, people spend years studying difficult subjects like engineering, medicine, or law. But in the end, they sometimes don't get good jobs because their English is not good enough. Meanwhile, someone who speaks fluent English can get a high-paying remote job with just a laptop and an internet connection. That is the power of English. Second, you can travel the world without fear. Have you ever wanted to travel to Paris, New York, London, Dubai, or Tokyo? Have you ever dreamed of visiting a new country, exploring new cultures, and meeting new people? Well, here is a simple fact. English is the language of travel. When you land at an international airport, all the signs are in English. When you check into a hotel, the staff will speak English. If you get lost in a big city, you can ask for help in English. No matter where you go in the world, from Europe to Asia to Africa, someone will understand you if you speak English. But if you don't know English, traveling can be stressful. It can be confusing and difficult. So if you want the freedom to explore our beautiful world without fear, English is your passport. Third, you can learn anything you want. Let me ask you a question. What is your biggest dream? Do you want to become a doctor, an engineer, a designer, or an artist? Do you want to start a business and become your own boss? Do you want to become a successful YouTuber, an influencer, or a writer? No matter what your dream is, there is one thing you will always need: knowledge. And guess where more than 90% of the world's knowledge is stored? It is stored in English. Think about it. The best universities in the world teach in English. The best books about self-improvement and success are written in English. The best online courses and tutorials for learning new skills are in English. If you don't know English, you miss out on all of this amazing knowledge. But if you do know English, you can learn anything. You can develop any skill. You can truly change your life. And that brings us to our final, most important point. At the end of the day, learning English is not just about learning words and grammar. It is about power. It is about freedom. When you speak English fluently, you no longer feel trapped in your country, in your job, or in your limitations. Instead, you feel confident. You feel strong and independent. You can communicate with almost anyone in the world. You can make money from anywhere. You can learn, you can grow, and you can achieve your biggest dreams. And that is why millions of people around the world are working hard every single day to improve their English. Because they know that English is not just a language, it is a life-changing skill. And now, my friends, it is your turn. We have reached the end of this journey together. But before we finish, I want to leave you with a friendly challenge. Don't just listen to this story and forget about it. Take action. Start today. Start practicing English every single day. Read a little, listen a little, speak a little, and write a little in English as much as you can. Please do not be afraid of making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It is part of learning. The important thing is to keep going. And most importantly, never, ever give up. Because I promise you, one day in the future, you will look back and you will realize that learning English was the best decision you ever made in your life. And when that day comes, you will thank yourself for never giving up. So go out there and make it happen. I believe in you. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe to my channel because I have many more powerful lessons coming your way. Let's learn, let's grow, and let's change our lives together. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.